and winter is coming.
You know nothing, Jon Snow.
For the watch.
This is the Game of Thrones battle episode.
Hey everybody, welcome to our review of the battle episode, season 6 episode 9, Battle of the Bastards. We are pretty excited to talk about this.
Yes.
For the second time. A little funny story is we kind of the audio, we were re-recording this because the first time we recorded this, the audio got a little fucked up. So we're starting all over again. So just I'm using that as disclosure and or disclaimer, just saying our thoughts might be a little more brief because we kind of already went over them.
Yep.
But we'll try to still make it entertaining while trying not to bore ourselves by saying the same stuff we already said. My opinion has also changed from last time, so that might make things a little more different for us. But yeah, so spoilers from this point on. The whole everything, everything, House of Cards, Game of Thrones, every
I have
show.
not watched House of Cards.
Well, there's House Card spoilers in this one, boy. He dies at the end. It's not over yet. All right, so we're gonna just hop right into this, and the first place we go to is Marine.
Yes.
We go to Marine in this episode, and I didn't see this coming. I wanted this to be Battle of the Bastards. I was kind of, well, as soon as I saw Marine, I'm like, really,
I figured that they would.
really. And they opened with it. I'm here for the Battle of the Bastards. I'm not here for Marine, but whatever. Regardless, we get the first scene we get is between Daenerys and Tyrion, and they're talking about a plan to deal with the slavers.
Yep.
Dany kind of suggests, using violence, burning them all, while Tyrion suggests, offering terms of surrender because, you shouldn't be like your father and just burn everything. You should probably, use, I don't know, quote unquote peaceful tactics.
Use a little bit of diplomacy.
Yeah, use a little bit of diplomacy. It's definitely Tyrion. What do you think of this little scene between these two characters? Which, may I add, we've only had like 2 or 3 scenes between them before.
Yeah.
And we only had like one last season that was really good. So what did you think of this?
I thought it was pretty well. Like the mannerisms of the actors were great for this scene because like it was in the middle of the city being bombed from the ships. Yeah. And you could see like the place rattling and everything, and you could see Tyrion being like hesitant because they're up at the top of the pyramid and he feels they're very exposed. And you can see Daenerys just being all straight faced and cold hearted conqueror that she is. Yeah. But yeah, that was pretty good. The acting of the two people helped.
Yeah, Emilia Clarke and Peter Dinklage.
Yes,
did a very good job of acting, especially my old Pete boy. Yeah, I don't know. As soon as I saw the scene, I kind of was distracted because all I was thinking was like, where's Winterfell? Where's the Battle of the Bastards? This is what I came here for. It's what I paid admission for. So I guess it's kind of unfair to say, but I was so focused on seeing that I kind of just like the whole time.
Yeah.
But anyway, I thought the scene overall was fine, was all right. It kind of just shows the dynamic of the characters. I wish, we haven't seen these two characters together. These are two fan favorite characters. And they weren't playing it up. Like they weren't like, this is Tyrion and Darius meeting, like haha again, haha. They kind of just like let it happen, which was felt pretty natural and felt pretty good. So overall, I enjoyed this scene because I enjoyed the relationship between them. Daenerys kind of being like, maybe I should just be ruthless, and Tyrion kind of like trying to calm those Targaryen flames down with the fan. He's really trying really hard with the fan, but he can't do it.
It's a fan of gold.
Yes, a fan of Or is he? Dun 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 dun.
He's a Lannister.
No, he's Targaryen. Anyway, we're gonna move on. So we meet up, and the next thing we meet up with the masters of Young Kai and all those peeps, and they kind of just meet up to discuss a peace treaty. And Daenerys is like, you know what? I kind of want to ride on a dragon right now. For some reason. So she gets in a dragon and she meets up with the other 2 dragons, just kind of burn shit alive. And the Dothraki come through, kill a bunch of the Sons of the Harpy, which I need to ask, we haven't seen any of these Sons of the Harpy the entire season.
Yeah.
And now they just show up this battle. I don't understand that. Were they just kind of hanging out until the battle started?
I mean, they mentioned them a few times.
They mentioned them a few
but
times.
They didn't show them.
And they mentioned that their leader is someone notable.
Yeah.
So that they're still alive because we haven't figured out who their leader is yet.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we'll find that out next episode. But I mean, why, like, who, like, they were so prevalent in season 5. Like, they were in so many episodes. Just, I mean, they killed Sir Barristan. They were killing a bunch of the Harpy. They obviously, they killed a bunch of them Unsullied.
Yeah.
They showed up for the big tournament. But here, they were just like, we're not going to have them this season. But here, in this one scene, they get slaughtered by Dothraki.
In the Second Sons.
Yes, which was satisfying, but I just don't understand how they just showed up. Like, I wish, because it seems that now that Daenerys is gone and like a foreign dwarf and two former slaves are ruling, it seems like they would be more prevalent.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
Instead, they kind of just hid back, which was kind of weird.
Mm-hmm.
But what did you think of this scene?
Like, there was one shot in particular in this scene where they're talking to the Masters
Yes.
and talking about a surrender.
Yes.
And the Masters mentioned that the Masters are there under the assumption that Daenerys is surrendering.
Yep.
But they're really there to talk about the Masters surrender, and the Masters are like, "Why would we surrender?" And
Yeah.
while they're saying that, you could see barely in the background, like out of focus,
Yep.
Drogon flying by in the background. And I
Yes.
thought that was great.
That was a good touch. And basically, it's like that's why.
Yeah.
That's pretty much why. All right, yeah, I enjoyed this scene. Again, I like the Dothraki coming in. I like kind of, you know what I mean. But this was the Harpy I just had a little problem with. But whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless, we're gonna move on to the same scene, just in a different perspective. We have Grey Worm hanging out with Tyrion, and Grey Worm kills 2 of the Masters after they kind of like give up.
Yes.
The-
They mentioned how Daenerys felt that one of them should be killed for this insurrection, and they both offer up the man who was the slaver who bought Tyrion from the pirates.
Yes.
Because they're like, oh, he's not one of us. He's just a common person who got all this money.
Yeah.
So, and then the guy ends up kneeling down, trying to beg for forgiveness and not to be killed.
Yeah.
And then, while he's knelt down, the other 2 are standing behind him, and Grey Worm does this really cool action where he pulls out his dagger from his waist and just in one slash cuts both of their throats.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting.
So, yeah, that was pretty good.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. Tyrion also tells the slaver to go spread the word of Daenerys
yes.
to everybody and say pretty much she can do. Yeah, that scene was all right. Again, I was sitting here just like, where is the Winterfell stuff? But it was all right, I guess.
I had expected there to be some Marine in this because it was the battle episode and like they set up
guess.
at the end of the last episode that there would be a battle in Marine. So why would they not include it
Well,
here?
I mean, I was just like every single battle episode always is just one battle, so I just kind of assume tradition.
But yeah, but they're not always. They don't
I
always
know.
focus on that. Just that. There's always at least something else.
Nah, not Blackwater in the battle. At the,
Blackwater wasn't just in King's Landing, was it?
it was just Blackwater, yeah. There's nothing else to it. Just Blackwater, King's Landing. That's it. There are 3 plots going on: the Sansa plot, the Tyrion plot, and the Stannis plot. That's it. On King's Landing.
Oh.
And the Wall was just the Wall. And it was every 2 seasons. Episode 9, so I just figured traditionally, but that's fine that they broke that. But I just wish they used some of this time to focus on Winterfell a little bit more. I would have appreciated. All right, I think it's time to move on to the next plot, which came in like mid-episode for the Marine plot. They kind of just threw it in there, and I think that this almost shouldn't have been included in this episode. I think this could have been held off for next episode, so we have it.
Well, it'll depend on what we see next episode.
All right, true. But anyway, we have Theon and Yara meet up with Daenerys.
Yeah.
Again, this is mid-episode. They already left Marine, and then they came back just for the scene. So Yara and Theon offer Dany 100 man ships if they help him deal with Euron and give the Iron Islands independence when she takes Westeros.
Yes.
They both kind of talk about how they have terrible fathers. We kind of see some parallels between Yara and Daenerys. They're both women who especially live in their world, and I would say all in like just Daenerys' world in general and in the Iron Islands. Woman rule is not really too
Not very prevalent.
No, not at all. They both have terrible fathers.
Yep.
And they're kind of similar in that way.
Mm-hmm.
Characteristically, I would consider them pretty similar. Pretty strong women who want to do good for the world and want power. So we have them kind of meet up, and that's pretty much it. That's all that really happens. Yara's like, yeah, we'll help you out. And Daenerys is like, cool, you gotta stop pillaging, though. Like, you gotta stop. You can't do any more pillaging. And she's like, but it's kind of a way of life. Like, yeah, I mean, okay. And I'm just like, there's no way Yara's gonna be able to convince her people. Like, that's just part of their culture.
No.
But I see where they want to go. They want Iron Islands to become kind of like a merchant, almost. Like,
Yeah.
It's kind of like a merchant city, which would work really well in Daenerys' world. They need merchants by boat and water.
Yeah.
There you go. That's who they are. What do you think of this scene? Let me ask before I go too deep into it.
I liked that we finally saw more Theon than Reek.
Sure.
Like
yes.
after his little pep talk he got from Yara a couple episodes ago. Was it
Yes.
2 episodes ago?
It was, I believe it was episode 7.
7, yeah. It was good to see him, like, he didn't have any of the waver in his voice.
No.
He was actually talking, like, calmly.
Yeah, and they also brought up his crimes of, quote-unquote, killing Rickon
And Bran.
Bran. But don't worry, they're both alive.
Yep. No. Yep.
No.
Yep.
Yes.
At this point.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
At this point in the episode?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Anyway.
Yep.
So we have this nice little scene, and I don't know. I thought it was all right. But they did bring up his past crimes, and they kind of just mentioned he's forgiven, and they're just kind of like, all right.
Yeah.
About it. Thought it was all right. It didn't feel like it just fit, and I understand that maybe they didn't have time to slide into episode 10.
We'll see what they have in next episode. Like if we see that there's a minimal amount of the plot from the Marine standpoint next episode, then we could say that
Even if
it should have been there.
Even if there's not, I don't think it's. I think they just had to put this in there because there's no way they could fit it in. But it didn't feel natural. This felt very unnatural, and with the fast pacing of the episode, this just got injected in, and it was a very slow scene, which was fine, but it didn't fit for me. That's just me.
It just didn't fit with the theme of the episode.
No, it did not.
The battle.
It did not. So we that's it. We finished Marine stuff. What did you think overall of the Marine stuff?
I thought that it was the best Marine stuff we've gotten this season.
Okay,
Definitely.
it's not saying much, but
Yeah. But
I think the Marine stuff's been pretty weak. Honestly, I think there's been a few good parts, but I think it started off pretty weak, and then they got a little better, and then it just got weak again. But
yeah,
we've been away for it from a while, if you think about it.
Mm-hmm. But the whole thing showcased a lot of the character stuff that's happened over the last season with each of the characters.
Yeah,
like Daenerys and Tyrion and Theon and all that. So
Right.
it was good to show that off before we get to the end of the season.
Okay, I agree. I agree, but at the same time, I just I don't know. It didn't fit for me. I'm way more of a fan of the Jon Sansa plot. So as soon as that showed up, I was happy. But whatever. The Marine stuff was whatever. It was fine, I guess.
You were just salty that it wasn't all Jon
I
stuff.
was just very salty because I don't know. I mean, I know the Ironborn live up by salt water, but I was more salty than Yara and Theon were combined. I was very salty. Sean, put in the laugh track right there.
No, just put in crickets. That'll work.
Laugh track.
Crickets.
Laugh track. Thank you. So thanks for that, Sean. I appreciate that. For not putting in any crickets. But yeah, so now we're going to move on to Winterfell. This is the main chunk of the episode. Obviously, the episode is titled Battle of the Bastards. Mm-hmm. It was not referring to the Slavers and Daenerys. So the Slavers are really bastards. They're really just some fucking bastards. I do not like them. Anyway, so we have Winterfell. So the first thing we see in Winterfell is Jon, Sansa, and the boys, as I call them. That's Davos and Tormund and all the boys. And, of course, the one and only Lady Mormont, which was so fucking badass. That was awesome how she was there meeting with Ramsay.
Just kind of chilling in the background.
No, it was just so cool because like she could have had the threat of dying there, but she showed up anyway. That shows that she's a fucking badass. I love her. Mm-hmm. Okay, so they meet up with Ramsay, and John offers like a peace treaty, basically saying 1-on-1, you and me. And Ramsay's kind of like, nah, I heard you were pretty good, so I'm all right. And Ramsay's like, but I will kill Rickon if you fuck with us. So I'm just letting you know, I'm gonna fuck with you. And then like, you don't have Rickon? There's no way. And then he throws Shaggy Dog's head and they're like, okay.
All right, maybe you do.
You do. And then this is kind of just like John's like kind of talking to them, but Ramsay, he's not really getting through Ramsay. Mm-hmm. And that's when Sansa finally speaks up and says, you will die tomorrow.
Yes.
And she rides away. And that just shows how much she's grown as a character. Mm-hmm. She just stands up for herself, stands up for Jon, and
stands up against Ramsay.
Yeah, and runs away. rides away in epic fashion.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, what do you think of this little scene between these opposing forces?
It was very, very tense.
Yes.
It was the first time that Ramsay and Sansa have seen each other since Sansa left.
Yes, and the first time Jon and Ramsay had seen
Seen each other in general.
Yeah.
It was interesting to see Jon kind of sizing Ramsay up.
Yeah.
But the one meeting, like later on in the episode, Sansa mentions how Jon doesn't know Ramsay because it's in.
Well, we'll get to that.
But yeah.
We'll actually get to that in a second. Mm-hmm. But let me just say, the scene was pretty good. Yeah, it was pretty good. I really have nothing else to say about it.
Yeah.
I don't know. It felt pretty good. We've seen peace treaties in the Winterfell and in the Marine.
Mm-hmm.
And they were both kind of ended the same with out peace.
Yes.
So anyway, so the next scene we have Jon discussing his battle plans with Tormund and Davos, and they're just going to talk about how they're gonna set a trap for Ramsay and then flank him from both sides.
Yep.
To get rid of them. And as they leave, Sansa.
Well, I thought it was they were gonna dig trenches along their sides so that they couldn't get flanked, because that was what.
Well, what they were going to do is they were going to try to get the with trenches, try to get the Boltons in the middle and then get them from both sides.
Oh, okay.
Was their plan. They didn't really go over too much, but they did say that. And Sansa, well, when everyone leaves, and Sansa is very upset, saying, you're not going to be able to attack them. We don't have enough men. And also leaving out a little detail that she might be able to get men, which Jon might not. Anyway, so they have a little argument, and Sansa basically argues that she knows Ramsay, he's going to lay a trap, and you can't fall for it. And Jon's argument is, well, there have been worse odds, and that he's faced worse. And then you can see between the arguments, Sansa clearly is right, but she's also hiding the very important detail that she could get the veil.
Yeah.
And that would have changed everything. Mm-hmm. If she could have told him that could have honestly changed everything.
Yeah.
So with that, I think Sansa's right, but she's being a little bit like sneaky and not.
Yeah, a little bit, because I think she's afraid that if she were to tell Jon everything, that she wouldn't be involved in anything.
Sure.
Like he would take command over everything.
Yeah.
Over her.
I guess. Yeah.
I think that.
But I thought this argument was really cool because these two characters just would not get along, and it just feels right. These two characters are so different. Mm-hmm. They've been through many tough things, but very different things. Sansa obviously, well, Jon Snow obviously had to deal with stuff north of the Wall, which is why he says there's worse odds. And when he offers her protection, Sansa says no one can keep anybody safe.
Yeah.
Which is so representative of her plot. Mm-hmm. I mean, Eddard couldn't keep her safe. Joffrey or Cersei definitely couldn't keep her safe. The Hound couldn't keep her safe. Littlefinger couldn't keep her safe. Yeah. No one can keep any... And that kind of... Her side of the argument represents everything she's been through. Yeah. And Jon Snow's side of the argument represents everything he's been through. Mm-hmm. So we kind of get this clash of experience that are completely different from each other. And also very interesting. So I enjoyed that quite a bit. Enjoyed the scene quite a bit. This might have been one of my favorite scenes. I loved this argument. And there's these character dynamics work really well. Sansa and Jon definitely should not get along.
Yeah, and that showed it.
Definitely did. Anything else? So we have.
I think you said everything that needed to be said.
Awesome. So we have a nice scene in the camp up next where Davos and Tormund is discussing how they both served Stannis and how they both served Mance Rayder, and they're just kind of like, yeah, whatever. We served these two guys, but now we're fighting with Jon Snow. Okay. So then Davos is walking around and he finds the place where Shireen was sacrificed and finds a wooden stag. Mm-hmm. And I guess through that he realized how she died. I have a little problem with this. How exactly did he find that? Because first of all, one of it got covered up by snow. I find that the fact that he found that was just a little too coincidental. I felt like the show needed to inform him that Shireen has died, and this was the only way they could do it. The only way they could inform him would be to, have a bunch of coincidences happening, the stars line up, and he finds the exact spot where she died with the wooden stag that is not burned, that is somehow still intact, at least slightly, and through that he can realize how she died. Mm-hmm. What did you feel the same way or any?
Kinda. I mean, it hasn't been that long since the battle at
Winterfell. I know.
But it wouldn't really get covered up in snow. But
a little bit.
It did show that it was covered in snow. It wasn't, it wasn't like buried in snow.
Right, but I just found out that this show used a little too much coincidence.
Yeah.
To kind of like point at this one thing.
Well, there was no other. There wasn't really another way for him to figure it out.
Yeah, I agree.
Seeing as Melisandre was the only one who was there who's still alive, and she would never have told him.
Exactly. So I agree, and I guess this was the way to find out, but whatever.
Yeah.
The next scene, this is a very interesting scene. So Jon meets up with Melisandre in her tent, and he orders her that if he happens to die in the battle, to not bring him back. Just let him go. And she says, "Oh, I'm going to try anyway, because the Lord of Light decides your fate, not me." And he's like, "What? What the fuck? All right."
I gave you an order. You're going to follow my order.
And he just kind of leaves. And I think what this scene did is it raised the stakes of the battle.
Yeah.
It kind of said, Jon Snow could die here. They put the scene, and that means he might be able to die. And it also shows that he's almost willing to give up. He's almost willing, if the end does come, I don't think he's going to fight it as much. Which is very interesting. What did you think of this little scene here?
It was kind of... There wasn't really much to say about it other than what was just said.
I think there's a lot to say about it.
Well, other than what we just said, I don't think there was much else. Because, I mean, it was kind of showing that Melisandre still has her faith in the Lord of Light.
Yes, but still shooken a little bit.
Yeah.
Because she wasn't completely like, oh, he's going to bring you back. She's like,
she's like, if he brings you back, he's going to bring you back.
Like, I guess if you were the prince who's promised, I don't know. I'm just an old woman, all right? I'm an old woman stuck in a young woman's body. What do you want from me?
I'm stuck.
I'm stuck. I'm stuck and I can't move. All right. Whatever.
Oh, can't get up joke.
What? Okay. Move on to the next scene, I guess?
Yeah.
So we have the armies gather up, and it's battle time. Put in a nice war horn, Sean.
Kind of something like that.
Cool. All right. So we have this nice little battle going on. Jon's on horseback, and Ramsay's Jon's on horseback, just meeting with them, and Ramsay takes out Rickon to play a little game. The whole game is to run towards Jon's army. So Ramsay brings out his bow as Jon and Rickon are running towards each other, and as soon as they meet up, Rickon is struck with an arrow and killed.
Yes.
And at this point, Jon fell for the trap that Sansa warned him about a few scenes ago. She said, "You don't know him. Lies traps." Laid a trap. Once he lays the trap, Jon is now in range of the archers. So the battle and armies are kind of forced to meet up without kind of being ready to meet up.
Yeah.
And the Boltons then circle around the Starks in like a battle, in like a horseshoe formation.
Yeah.
This was used by the Romans before. And the wildlings just freak the fuck out because they have no idea what to do.
Yeah.
Like they're just surrounded by Bolton men. They don't really fight with strategy. So they start to run the other way and they start to trample over Jon. So as they're trampling over Jon nearly suffocates, but he doesn't stop fighting and he survives. I mean, because we had that scene with Melisandre where he's like, "I might give up, I might be done," but he doesn't. He somehow fights through it and does not give up.
Yep.
Although we kind of almost like foreshadowed him giving up. And as the Starks are about to completely lose by this devastation, Sansa and Littlefinger show up, and Ramsay retreats inside Winterfell while the Vale kicks everyone's ass.
And as Ramsay retreats, Tormund,
Yes.
Wan, and Jon
Yes.
are together, and they see Ramsay heading back,
So
and they charge after.
They chase after him, and also I must add, a cool little scene during this battle was I like the scene when Tormund kills Small John Umber.
Yeah.
By while the Vale shows up, he takes a bite out of his throat and like stabs him. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, we have
after they were like headbutting each other for a while.
So we have a lot to talk about in this scene. I guess we'll do like three things. First of all, let's talk about the battle strategy.
Yeah.
Very interesting battle strategy here.
This is the first time we've seen a battle like that's actually on a battlefield.
On a battlefield, exactly.
Yeah.
And I mean Ramsay, or I guess the Boltons. I think he might have had the help from Umbridge and Karstarks. Brilliant strategy.
Yeah.
By the Romans used set a trap for him using Rickon, get him out there. He's out there. He's too late. And
Overextended,
and of course, that happens. I thought it was very well done.
Yeah.
And also, they take it from a Roman formation used, which kicked everyone's ass. So I mean, we know the Romans. I mean,
yeah.
So you go. I like this quite a bit. Then we have Ramsay. I mean, not Ramsay. Rickon. Rickon dies. Man,
Yes.
what did you think about this? Because, all right, they didn't even give him a speaking line.
He had no lines this
He had
season.
no lines this season. I mean, I know the show has been shitting on the best Stark this entire time, but man, they shit on him
Yeah.
this season. They had him in 2 episodes, kind of introduced him again, and just killed him immediately without even letting him have any character.
It's kind of representative of his whole role within the whole series.
Yes, very much so. And like that, I mean, I get it. They wanna shit on the best Stark ever made, but I mean, I don't understand. I mean, why they couldn't just give him something?
No,
like, they couldn't give him one thing. Like they couldn't.
Yeah,
I mean,
sad.
I felt like this season would be a good time to just give him something before he dies. So
It
made the death feel a little less like. I mean, I saw this coming, but it also made the death a little less.
It wasn't really emotional.
No,
because
he
had no character.
I really had no emotional attachment to Rickon. I had more emotional attachment to his fucking dog with him. That's how. All right, Sean. Though he did have some really good lines. Sean, I want you right now to put in some of Rickon's best lines throughout the show.
Me. I'm coming with you. I'm coming with you. I'm your brother. I have to protect you.
Hold on.
Thank you, Sean. Thank you. Some very moving words from Rickon Stark. The best Stark ever made. Rest in peace, Rickon Stark.
Probably a good time to put some crickets in.
Everyone will miss you. Right? Right?
Moving on now to the next scene.
Well, not moving on to the next scene. The last thing we're talking about the scene is the veil showing up.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone saw this coming from 1977. Since 1977. It wasn't a surprise, and that's something that bothered me. But I get that the show's at the point where they can no longer... it's hard to make it less predictable, but I mean, let's talk about the other battles. I mean, we had Tywin come out of nowhere, which was a huge surprise, because we had no idea if he was going north or south. Even a bigger surprise was Stannis showing up in the other battle. What the fuck?
Yeah, that one.
That one was
crazy.
like, what? Like, Stannis is here? Like, what? Like, nobody saw that coming. And then this one, it was like, he showed up.
It's like, Stannis just went around the wall. It's fine.
Yeah. And then in this one, he showed up, and it's like, oh. Huh.
Okay. We knew.
Cool. But yeah, let's move on to the next scene. So we have Ramsay falls back on Winterfell. This is only option left. And it's fun. I'm glad we finally see Winterfell. I mean, this is a battle for Winterfell, so it's good we see it. And 1-1 breaks down Winterfell's gates, and 1-1 is barraged with arrows as he breaks it down. And Ramsay delivers the final blow to kill him. Of course he does, because they want to kill Ramsay. They want to have us hate him a little bit more, and also they want to give this battle a little more legitimacy. They want someone to fall, and he might be the last giant, for all we know.
Yeah,
so the last giant could have just fallen, but we will see. So at this point, Ramsay's surrounded by Starks, pretty much defeated, and he says he's willing to do 1v1 combat, kind of as like a joke, but he's also serious.
Yeah. So
Jon grabs a shield, a Mormont shield to be exact, and blocks all of Ramsay's arrows as he's shooting at Jon Snow. And once he reaches him, he hits him with the shield and just beats the shit out of him. Like, living shit out of him.
The ever-loving
which
shit.
Represents what everybody wanted to do to Ramsay.
Yeah.
And he stops killing him as he realizes that Sansa has the right to kill him more than he does. And also, I don't think he just wants to be a fucking monster. The Count doesn't want to be stooped to his level. So the banners are torn down and replaced with Stark banners, just like Melisandre saw in her vision. And Jon orders Rickon's body to be buried next to Ned Stark's body.
Yes.
Question. Was Ned Stark's body... Is his body in Winterfell?
I think it is.
I don't think it is, because... Alright. So in the books, I know Tyrion sends the body up there, but in the show, they had Littlefinger give the bones to Catelyn in season 2.
I imagine she sent him back.
Yeah, but like at that point...
I don't think she just traveled the rest of the way with with Rob's army.
I guess, but at that point, wasn't like Ned's like... Alright, so if that's the case, how would Jon Snow even know that?
I don't know.
I guess in the end, it's just a detail that they just kind of missed on. But whatever. It's a nitpick, but I mean, it's just something that bothers me. I noticed those small details. Yeah. It just kind of bothers me. That's a fact. But anyway, what do you think of this whole Winterfell scene?
I thought it was a really good scene.
Yeah.
There was one shot that I really loved when one was breaking down the door, and like he punched through it, and he went to grab the bar and lift the bar up.
Yep.
And like while he was holding onto the bar, he had an arrow through his hand.
Yep. And
like as he pulled the bar up, the arrow went through and out the bottom of his hand. Like he was so determined to get through that. It was great.
It was pretty cool. I mean, this scene was pretty cool. I liked being the shit out of Ramsay. That was kind of fun. But anyway, we're going to move on to our last scene before we discuss what we thought of this episode overall. So Sansa visits Ramsay in his cell.
Yes.
Ramsay's holding on. He's near death. He's not giving up. He wouldn't give up when he saw the veil come. He went back to Winterfell. He's just not giving up. He will not give up. He wasn't even giving up while Jon Snow was beating the shit out of him. This kid's not giving up. And and he's next to all of his hungry hounds, which haven't eaten in 7 days. And Ramsay refuses, while refusing to give up, states that there's no way his dogs would kill him while he's surrounded by them. And Sansa's like, I think they will. And they do. They do. The dogs tear him up. And
they take a second to maybe sniff him out.
Yeah.
But then they go after him.
And as Sansa walks away, a smirk forms on his face, and the episode ends.
Yes.
Bob, what do you think of this scene?
This was almost exactly what I wanted Sansa to do to Ramsay.
Yeah.
Like, this was perfect. This was, like, perfect vengeance, I should say. Because, like, I've been saying how I was expecting Sansa to kill Ramsay.
Yeah.
But I never expected her to use his dogs. Like, and his dogs have been such a huge part of his character throughout the show.
Well, his way of murdering people.
Yeah. It's the way he intimidates. It's the way he hunts people down.
Yeah.
It's just...
Yeah.
It was so great to have that stuff turned against him by Sansa.
Yeah.
So
I agree. Yeah, this scene was pretty cool. Ramsay's dead. Again, fine by me. I don't think anyone's going to miss him. I think there are much better villains to focus on now.
Yeah.
I think one of them now is Winterfell. Anyway, before we get to that, before we get to... You want to know who I'm talking about? What do you think I'm talking about?
In Winterfell?
The main villain is now at Winterfell.
Littlefinger?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Easily. I mean, come on now.
It took me a second to think of him. I was like, Winterfell.
He has a little fucking finger. It's not why he's called fingers, because he's one of the fingers. Anyway, okay. So, what did you think of this episode, Bob? Let me know.
I put this episode as my favorite episode of the season.
Okay. Don't quite agree, but go ahead.
I thought it was really, really, really good.
Yeah.
The whole battle sequence, like, there was like a 20-minute sequence of just battle in the middle of the episode, and it was
pure fucking chaos.
It was tremendously choreographed, everything.
In
like
chaos.
Especially the shot like right after Rickon dies and the cavalry from Ramsay's army is charging at Jon, and he's by himself on the battlefield.
Yeah.
And as the cavalry gets to him, his cavalry comes up behind him and gets him out of the way. It was great.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
And we got the best of Marine for this season in this episode, and everything was great.
All right, yeah. Yeah, I don't think this was quite the best episode. I actually think overall this was probably the weakest battle episode, which at first makes it sound like I'm saying negative things about this episode.
Yeah.
But I think as a battle episode, it was the weakest. But as an episode as itself, I thought this was definitely one of the strongest of the season. I will agree with you on that. I would say it might be my third favorite, maybe my second. I still think the door holds the best episode with Hodor, honestly. I think my main problem with this episode...
I put that as my number 3 favorite.
I think my main problem with this episode is how predictable it was.
Yeah.
This episode was way too predictable. And I think all the plots are really predictable. I think the only plot at this point that's not predictable is the Bran stuff plot.
Yeah.
Because that shit's so mysterious. We have no idea where that's going. But yeah, I think everything else is kind of pretty predictable.
Yeah.
And I think that was my main problem with it. But besides that, it was choreographed very well. It looked very nice. They killed Ramsay, which everyone's making a big deal out of it on the internet, but I think it's like the least big deal out of this.
Yeah.
I think the biggest deal of this is that Littlefinger. What does Littlefinger want now?
Yeah.
It's pretty important. But overall, this episode was pretty good. As a battle episode, I think it was the weakest out of between Blackwater and the Battle of the Wall. Regardless, I still enjoyed it. I had a good time. And I see where all their budget went. And I think that might be a problem with the rest of the season is because their budget went all towards this. And that's why we probably didn't see the Blackfish die. That's why they cut a lot of stuff out. And I think it's just because of this episode, which I guess kind of hurts the season. I really wish, I don't know, whatever. I feel like it wasn't worth it. I feel like cutting out all this stuff just for this wasn't worth it, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, they cut out the stuff and they cut out the battle in season 1, and that was definitely worth it. But whatever. Whatever, man. It was good. I had a good time. But I wouldn't say it was, like, genius storytelling.
Yeah.
I just thought it was a lot of blood and just kind of action and kind of, like, I don't know.
I thought it was good action, and the story that was there was good.
I think the story is pretty weak, honestly. But I don't think that was the focus on it.
Yeah.
I don't think the storytelling in Winterfell was the focus, because they didn't really have a story to tell. They just kind of wanted to show a bunch of people dying. And it was like, cool. Rickon dead, Ramsay dead, okay, Littlefinger's there. That's what's the most important thing.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to see where we are going with this. And Bob, next week is the finale.
Yeah.
The season finale is next week. I'm excited for next week's episode. I've been pretty disappointed with the season so far, but how good how like high stakes this episode was. If the next episode is high stakes with all the other plots, maybe we'd actually get somewhere.
Maybe.
And I'm pretty excited. So we're not gonna do any predictions. We kind of already did that.
Yeah.
Last time. So instead we're just gonna jump right into it next week.
Yep.
Get in there, and we'll talk about what we thought of the episode next week. After that, we'll do our season review. After that, and after that, we will we'll reveal our plans in the future. But
yeah.
So we're almost done. We're almost done.
We're at one episode remaining.
Yes.
After a season that's pretty good. It's alright.
I think it was pretty disappointing. We'll talk about this in our season review.
Yeah.
This will be more appropriate for our season review. Maybe we'll get some few guests in here for our season review. But thanks for being here, Bob. And this was Westeros After Hours. I'm Sean.
I'm Bob.
And we will see you guys next week for the finale. Make sure to subscribe. It helps out quite a bit. Like us and follow us on
Facebook and Twitter.
You can see us, the links right down below. And besides that, we will see you guys next week for the season finale.
Episode 10.
10. It's 1-0.
Sunday.
Well, yeah. It is. Bye!
Bye.